To be honest, we could have gone forward with the original date, but we want to be sure, we want to be safe, we want everybody to be on the same page. We want in particular those health practitioners, those faculties of medicine, colleges who had some concerns to have the time to internalize what is happening.
The federal government is proposing a delay in expanding medical assistance in dying. A new bill introduced by Attorney General David Lametti would delay implementation of MAID for Canadians whose sole underlying condition is a mental illness. But one of Canada's leading bioethicists says this is the Liberal government dragging its feet on something that the courts have already ruled is a right.
Canadians have this constitutional right, and it is really unfortunate that this Liberal government for all these years, since 2015 basically, has prevented Canadians from exercising their constitutional rights, and this is really where we are today.
MAID legislation was first passed in 2016, but was first limited to people whose deaths were reasonably foreseeable. That was ruled unconstitutional and the law was amended, but it still disallows MAID for people whose only condition is a mental illness. That exemption would have expired in March. Bill C-39 would keep that exemption until next year.
What is strange with regard to mental illness here is that, in essence, this government is saying, we are concerned about decisional capacity, but at the same time, we are talking about people here that could buy houses, go rock climbing, that can do all sorts of things. But miraculously, when it comes to the end-of-life decision-making, as always in these situations, this government is saying, yeah, we don't trust their judgments. We really have to investigate this further.
Udo Schuklenk is a bioethics expert, a field he's worked in for over 2 decades. He says this is a case of an individual's right to choose one's own death. If a Canadian is aware of the consequences of their decision and has weighed the decision, the state should not stop them. He adds that people with mental illnesses who would like a medically assisted death are not simply people with a case of the blues.
We know that their suffering is really comparable to the suffering of people that suffer from cancer, for instance, and any number of pretty devastating conditions. So this is not a matter of people being sad and wanting to end their lives. And it is really unfortunate that very many people who don't have this understanding think about it in those terms. And for that reason think, yeah, we should really step in there.
In Ottawa, Xiaoli Li, City News.